Chiefs Kingdom, buckle up. Patrick Mahomes said something about Kevin Durant and Shaquille O'Neal, and the internet did what the internet does. It blew up. The clip took off, timelines melted, and everyone suddenly had a top 10 list ready to fire back. Here's the thing. It's October, the season is heating up, and a cross-sport take from QB1 is somehow the headline. We're diving into what he said, why it hit a nerve, and what it means for the Chiefs on the field. This is Kansas City Chiefs Today. Let's talk ball, culture, and the stakes that actually matter in the AFC. When Mahomes weighs in on hoops, people listen. He's always shown love for the NBA, and when he brought up Kevin Durant's all-time scoring skill versus Shaq's all-time dominance, that lit the match. One side heard, Cade is the most unstoppable bucket of the modern era, while the other side heard, you're disrespecting the most dominant big man to ever live. And that's the root of the clash. Durant is the prototype of the modern perimeter superstar: handle, pull-up, length, efficiency. Shaq represents a different era: physicality, force, and gravity so intense that defenses bent around him like steel in a furnace. Mahomes basically stepped into a culture war between eras, and because he's Mahomes, the take didn't stay in a little NBA corner of the internet. This isn't Mahomes dabbling for the first time. He's a sports junkie. He knows the crossovers, the narratives, the language. When he talks about skill versus dominance, he's actually echoing a debate that's been going for a decade. It wasn't just name-dropping stars. It was a line-in-the-sand comparison, and that's why it trended. Now, context matters. If you boil it down, he was praising greatness on both ends of the spectrum. But fandom is emotional. If your guy feels minimized, you're going to bark. So the clip became a referendum on legacy, and the Chiefs franchise quarterback just happened to be the guy holding the mic. Does a viral NBA take actually impact the Kansas City Chiefs? Directly, no. Nobody's changing a 3rd and 6 concept because of a top 10 debate. Indirectly, yes, because Mahomes is the face of the league, and whatever he says can become a 2-day talking point that drifts into a locker room question, into a press conference, into a headline that crowds out football talk. The first ripple is leadership perception. Quarterbacks get held to a different standard. If you look casual about a non-football conversation after a tight game, people can twist it into distracted. If you sound definitive, it's arrogant. The truth is, leaders get asked a million off-topic things, and the job is to move through them without letting the noise touch the preparation. The second ripple is brand management. Mahomes isn't just a player, he's a global brand. Cross-sport engagement keeps him relatable, human, and, let's be honest, algorithmically relevant. That helps the league and the Chiefs when it's handled with respect. He did that. He talked greatness, not slander, and anyone pretending otherwise is playing outrage bingo. The third ripple, and this is football real, is how the team handles a news cycle that isn't about coverages or protections. Veteran teams build a big boy filter. They let Twitter debate top 10s while the building drills timing, spacing, and execution. This roster has that filter. You can see it in practice scripts, you can hear it in the way Andy Reid frames questions, and you can feel it in how Mahomes always boomerangs back to we, not me. And finally, there's the competitor piece. You think Mahomes is going to lose sleep over an NBA GOAT list? If anything, it's lighter fluid. The same guy who notices a nickel corner's leverage by the 3rd snap is not getting derailed because a clip did 1 million views. He'll smile, nod, compliment both legends, and go back to dissecting a red zone shell. All right, let's pivot this to the field because that's where this actually matters. The Chiefs' offense has been reshaping its identity. There's a bigger commitment to the quick game when defenses live in split safety looks, and there's a clear emphasis on horizontal stretch to set up vertical shots later. That means more motion at the snap, more flood concepts, and more pace variability. When you face teams sitting on deep crossers and middle read benders, your answers are rhythm throws and run action that actually threatens the edges. Expect Kansas City to lean into fast 4- and 5-yard wins on early downs. That turns 2nd and 10 into 2nd and 5, which opens the entire playbook. It's not flashy, but it's how you keep Mahomes ahead of the sticks and force linebackers to put their feet in the ground. Protection is the next chess move. If opponents are bringing simulated pressure, mugging the A-gaps and bailing late, the antidote is clarity. You'll see Mahomes micromanage the ID, squeeze the pocket with the guards, and use the back as a late check outlet. That discourages exotic looks because the cost becomes explosive with C on a check down, and DCs hate giving freebies. Red zone, red zone, red zone. That's where Kansas City can separate again. Watch for compact stacks, quick motion, and layered routes that force momentary swaps. The point isn't to trick, it's to create one beat of hesitation. Mahomes only needs that beat to fit a ball into the second window. If the run game can threaten the C-gap with pin pull or counter, those tight ends become even more dangerous on leak and pop passes. And no surprise, the Travis Kelce option tree still anchors it all. Even if defenses bracket him, that attention is leverage. You'll see the Chiefs use that bracket as a pick for someone else. Orbit motion behind Kelce, then whip the other side. It's classic read geometry. The more patient Mahomes is on first and second down, the more violent the explosives look when they finally come. Let's circle back to the viral moment because it tells us something about fandom. Chiefs fans saw Mahomes showing love to basketball greatness. Non-Chiefs fans looked for a reason to be annoyed. That's the modern sports economy. Engagement wins, and nuance loses. What actually landed with most reasonable people? That Mahomes can appreciate two very different types of greatness. Durant's skill stack is alien. Shaq's dominance bent the game. Saying one is more unguardable while the other is more overwhelming isn't a diss, it's a taxonomy. We can hold two truths at once without exploding the timeline. Media-wise, this becomes a one-day storm, 2 days max, unless someone drags it with a follow-up jab. The best counter is boring consistency. You'll hear Mahomes credit the next opponent, keep the answers short, and lean back into football. That's how you feed the algorithm without letting the algorithm eat your week. Fans, here's your job. Use the clip as an icebreaker at the tailgate. Then get back to the real question. Are the Chiefs building the kind of situational football that travels in December and buries teams in January? That's the dialogue that matters. Zooming out, the AFC is a minefield again. The Ravens and Bengals are lurking with quarterbacks who can punch back. The Bills still have a high ceiling even if their floor has wobbled. The Jaguars and Dolphins are dangerous when they're on schedule. And inside the division, you never ignore the Chargers. Talent is real, even if their outcomes are chaotic. What does that mean for Kansas City? Margin. The 1 seed isn't a luxury, it's a multiplier. The difference between a divisional round at Arrowhead versus a winter flight to Baltimore or Buffalo is massive. That's why the Chiefs need to stack functional wins now, not pretty ones. It's why third and manageable, red zone finish rate, and turnover margin are the 3 stats that will predict seeding more than any viral moment ever will. So where do we land on Mahomes' KD Shaq take? It's sports bar talk from the most scrutinized athlete in football. It blew up because everything he says blows up, but it also revealed something we already knew. Mahomes is a student of greatness across sports. He can talk buckets and back downs, then walk back into the building and carve up quarters, rotations, and match coverages. The Chiefs aren't winning or losing games because of a debate about NBA legacies. They're winning or losing because of how efficiently they live on first down, how clean the protection rules are versus simulated pressure, and how ruthlessly they finish in the red zone. If Kansas City continues to convert the boring parts of football into automatic parts, the rest of the conference is going to feel it. And honestly, this might even help. A little outside chatter, a little extra edge, a chance to remind everyone that the noise is outside, the work is inside. That's been the DNA of this run. That's how you build a dynasty in the real world, not the timeline. All right, Chiefs Kingdom, your turn. Where do you land on the KD versus Shaq axis? Skill or dominance, perimeter poison, or paint gravity? More importantly, where do you land on the Chiefs' trajectory right now, locked in or still calibrating? Drop your takes in the comments and join the road to 5,000 subs here on Kansas City Chiefs Today.